Hello, good morning all. I'm Divya A, Assistant Professor, ECE, AJ Institute of Engineering and Technology, Mangalore. So today we'll be discussing about the last part of Module 3, that is optical receiver. So in this module, in this video series, we'll be discussing about the digital signal transmission, error sources, front-end amplifier, digital receiver performance, receiver sensitivity, and quantum limit. So an optical receiver, mainly it consists of a photodetector, an amplifier, and signal processing circuitry. So the receiver has the task of first converting the optical energy that is coming out from the end of a fiber into an electrical signal, and then amplifying the signal to a large enough level so that it can be processed by the electronics that is following the receiver amplifier. So the design of an optical receiver, it is much more complicated than that of an optical transmitter. Why? Because the receiver must be able to detect weak, distorted signals and make decisions on what type of data was sent based on an amplified and reshaped version of this distorted signal. So typical digital fiber transmission link is shown in figure 7.1 of the next slide. The transmitted signal is a two-level binary data stream that is consisting of either a 0 or a 1 in a time slot of duration TB. So this time slot is referred to as bit period, that is given by TB. One of the simplest technique for sending binary data is amplitude shift keying or on-off keying, where a voltage level is switched between two values which are usually on or off. So the resultant signal wave will consist of a voltage pulse of amplitude V when a binary 1 occurs and a 0 voltage level space when a binary 0 occurs. So in this figure, the shape of digital signal at different points along an optical link is illustrated. So the function of the optical transmitter is to convert the electric signal to an optical signal. So one way of doing this is by directly modulating the light source drive current with the information stream to produce a varying output power P of t. So in the optical signal emerging from the transmitter, a 1 is represented by a light pulse of duration Tb, whereas a 0 is the absence of any light. So the optical signal that gets coupled from the light source to the fiber becomes attenuated and distorted as it propagates along the fiber waveguide. So now upon arriving at the end of a fiber, now here we have the basic sections of an optical receiver. So upon arriving at the end of a fiber, a receiver converts the optical signal back to an electric format. So the first element that is required, it is we can use either a PIN photodiode or an avalanche photodiode, which produces an electric current that is proportional to the received power level. Since this electric current is very weak, there is a need of front end amplifier. So this front end amplifier, okay, it will boost the signal to a level that can be used by this following electronics circuits. So after the signal produced by the photodiode is amplified, it passes through a low pass filter. So this low pass filter, it is used to reduce the noise that is outside of the signal bandwidth. So this filter, it minimizes the effects of inter-symbol interference, and also it will reshape the pulses that have become distorted, okay, as they have traveled through the fiber. So this function is called as equalization because it equalizes or cancels pulse spreading effects. Then we have an sampling circuit and a decision circuit. So this samples the signal level at the midpoint of each time slot and compares it with the certain reference voltage known as the threshold level. So if the received signal level is greater than the threshold level, then 1 is said to have been received. If the voltage is below the threshold level, 0 is assumed to have been received. So in order to know the bit boundaries, a periodic waveform called the clock, which has a periodicity which is equal to the bit interval, is used. So that is why this function is called as clock recovery or timing recovery. So the errors in the detection mechanisms can arise from various noise sources and disturbances that is associated with the signal detection system, as shown in this figure. We can see the various noises. So the noise source can be either we can say it can be either external to the system, for example electric power lines, motors, radio transmitters, lightning, or it can be internal to the system, example switches or power supply. So here we should be concerned with internal noise. So this noise is caused by the spontaneous fluctuations of current or voltage in electric circuits. So the two most common examples of these spontaneous fluctuations are short noise and thermal noise. So short noise, these arises in the electronic devices because of the discrete nature of current flow in the device. And thermal noise, they arise from the random motion of electrons in a conductor. So another noise source is photodiode dark current. So which is the current that continues to flow when no light is incident on the photodiode. So the random arrival rate of signal photons produces a quantum noise at the photodetector. So this noise depends upon the signal level. So this noise is of particular importance for PIN receivers that have large optical input levels and for APD receivers. So when using an APD, an additional short noise arises from the statistical nature of the multiplication process. So this noise level increases with the increasing avalanche gain M. So thermal noises arising from the detector load resistor and from the amplifier electronics, they tend to dominate in applications with low signal to noise ratio when a PIN photodiode is used. So when an APD is used in low optical signal level applications, the optimum avalanche gain is determined by a design trade-off between the thermal noise and the gain dependent quantum noise. So the primary photocurrent that is generated by the photodiode is a time varying Poisson process. So if the detector is illuminated by an optical signal P of t, then the average number of electron hole pairs generated in a time t is given by this equation, that is average number of electron hole is given by efficiency divided by h nu integral of P of t with respect to time 0 to tau, which is equal to efficiency into E divided by h nu, where we know that this nu is the detector, eta is the detector quantum efficiency, and h nu is the photon energy, and E is the energy received in a time interval. So the actual number of electron hole pairs n that are generated, so it fluctuates from the average according to the Poisson distribution, which is given by n raised to n into e to the power of minus n divided by n factorial, where Pr of n is the probability that n electrons are emitted in an interval of time t. So for a detector with the mean avalanche gain m and an ionization rate ratio k, the excess noise factor f of m for electron injection is given by f of m, that is the noise margin, is equal to k into m plus 2 minus 1 by m into 1 minus k. Or we have already seen that f of m is approximated to m raised to x, where the factor x ranges between 0 and 1 depending upon the photodiode material. So a further source is attributed, further noise error source or error source is attributed to the intersymbol interference ISI, which results from the pulse spreading in the optical fiber. So when a pulse is transmitted in a given time slot, most of the pulse energy will arrive in the corresponding time slot at the receiver, as it is shown here. Okay, however, because of pulse spreading induced by the fiber, some of the transmitted energy will progressively spread into neighboring time slots as the pulse propagates along the fiber. So the presence of this energy in adjacent time slots results in an interfering symbol, hence the term symbol interference. So in this figure, the parameter gamma designates the fraction of energy remaining in the time slot Tb, so that 1 minus gamma is the fraction of energy that has spread into adjacent time slots. So here one on either sides it will be 1 minus gamma by 2. 1 minus gamma by 2. So next coming to front-end amplifier. So the goals of a front-end amplifier is to maximize the receiver sensitivity. So while maintaining a suitable bandwidth. So to achieve these goals, a basic concern in the front-end design is what load resistor RL to choose, because this parameter affects both the bandwidth and the noise performance. So front-end amplifiers used in optical fiber communication systems can be classified into 3 broad categories. So they are low impedance preamplifier, high impedance amplifier, transimpedance amplifier. So for photodiode, photodiode operates into a low impedance amplifier with an effective input resistance RA. A bias or load resistor RB in parallel with RA is used to match the amplifier impedance. So the total preamplifier load resistance, that is given by RL. Okay, so this RL is the parallel combination of RA and RB. So the value of the bias resistor in conjunction with the amplifier input capacitance is such that the preamplifier bandwidth is equal to or it is greater than the signal bandwidth. So the drawback of low impedance preamplifier is that they can even though they can operate over a wide bandwidth, they will not provide high receiver sensitivities, because only a small signal voltage can be developed across the total input impedance. So the use of these preamplifiers, it is limited to the special short distance applications in which higher receiver sensitivity is not a major concern. So now increasing the value of, so RL is nothing but it is a parallel combination of RA and RB. So increasing the value of RB, it results in the high impedance amplifier design. So for a high impedance front end, a high load resistance results in low noise, okay, but it also gives a low receiver bandwidth. So in low impedance amplifier, they provided a wide bandwidth, but they did not provide higher receiver sensitivities. In high impedance amplifiers, they give it a low noise, but it also gives a low receiver bandwidth also. So that is why the next option is the transimpedance amplifier. So this transimpedance amplifier, it overcomes the drawbacks of the high impedance amplifier. In this case, RL is used as a negative feedback resistor around an inverting amplifier. Now RL can be large since the negative feedback, it reduces the effective resistance seen by the photodiode by a factor of G. So that Rp is equal to RL divided by G plus 1, where G is the gain of the amplifier. So compared to high impedance design, the transimpedance bandwidth increases by a factor of G plus 1 for the same load resistor. So the transimpedance front-end design is the amplifier of choice for optical fiber lambda. So as an assignment question, explain the basic sections of an optical receiver with neat diagram. Thank you.